It's a shame. Well, there we go. Welcome everybody to Panfish Nation. Along with Luke Hentges, I'm Lyle Stokes. Would like to make sure that everyone keeps Mark in your thoughts and prayers as he's lost his father, and this is a tough time for him. Hope everything's going well and for him and his family. Luke, it's been a minute.
It's been a while.
Yeah, you haven't been on for a while, and regardless of what Dockery and Josh and Chad say, you're up there on the sun pole.
I'm still on the list.
You're still on the list. You was telling me before we started, and I'm sorry I'm late, folks, but we had a little bit of a mishap with the computer stuff. So you was telling me you have no snow.
Just little tiny piles and spots. Otherwise than that, it's grass.
And how far north are you from me?
Right next to Minneapolis, like 40 miles west of Minneapolis. So
you're way up there. You're way up there. And you usually got tons of snow by now.
The last couple of years, we haven't really had much snow. Last year, we hardly got good ice. This year, we actually have pretty good ice. It's been cold.
So that is something we're going to touch on in just a minute. You do a lot of ice fishing.
Yes.
I do zero ice fishing.
Yeah, you're scared of the ice, though, too. So
I am. If it cracks, I'm out, man. I'm gone. But you guys are used to it. You do it every year. You catch a lot of fish. You go a lot of places and catch every kind of imaginable fish. Can you tell a little bit about some of your experiences?
Well, yeah. I grew up northern Minnesota, about 3.5 hours north of here, even. North central Minnesota. Grew up on a lake, and my ice fishing kind of started when we didn't live up there. We just had a cabin on the lake before we moved there, and I was probably 11 and 12, all the way until about 14 before we finally moved up there. Fish right out in front of our house in the winter, and on like weekends when we were there, we'd drill a bunch of holes on the weed edge, which is about 80 yards out onto the lake, and we'd put tip-ups out, out along the front of the shoreline on the weed edge, and we'd sit inside and watch the Duck Commander hunting videos and watch different videos on our TV or watch football on Sundays until a flag went up. And then no jackets put on. You just jump into your boots and start sprinting out onto the lake and pull the tip-up fishing, so you don't have to be out there the whole time when you do it. You got to at least be in visibility of it so you don't get in trouble. But yeah, I've done fishing all over now for ice. I've done ice fish Lake Superior, which a lot of people haven't done. I've been 20 miles out on Lake Superior in the Apostle Islands on snowmobile, in going over 250, 300 foot of water and 6 mile an hour current on the ice. It's pretty sketchy.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're right about that.
Yeah, but most of the time it's pretty safe. The only time I've fallen in is when I step in a hole that was someone threw slush in that I didn't see, or on purpose when I was a kid jumping on the edge of open water. Mate wait until for it to break, and then we'd jump off of it. But yeah, I've ice fished a lot, done some spearing. I haven't done a lot of ice fishing in the last few years, but I still love it.
So you're talking about spearing on the ice?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that?
You cut a big sight hole. It's about, I usually do a pretty big one, bigger than most people. I usually do about 4-foot hole by about 3 feet with an ice saw. It's called. It's a long saw with big teeth, and it's like butter when you're going through the ice. Then you break it in half. You need to push the pieces under the ice, or if you got an ice grabber, you can pull them up, and then you watch the northern pike swim through, and you put your spearhead right in the water, the tip right in the water. You have a decoy down there. You either pull it or you have a live decoy, or both. People do both. And you rip it. When a pike comes through, you put your tip of your spear at the water, and you almost just drop it down on it, or just a light throw straight down on the pike. Then you pull them in and eat them.
Wow. I understand they're real tasty.
Pike's my favorite fish.
Cool. Well, while we're talking about this, let me talk to some of the people that's in chat. We have 205 Wild Action, 922 Crappie Barbecue, Benoit Fishing Outdoors. Mark's got me doing it wrong. Crappie Day Darren, Greg Burgess, Jersey, Joe Buck 66, Lance McCouguy, the Hawaii Fisherman, and River Rat 3030. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're so glad to have you. I am on a different computer because I'm missing a cord for mine, so you guys are going to have to bear with me a little bit. But we're going to make it work. So one of the things that gets me about you and your buddies up there, Jacob and all them guys, you have sent me pictures and videos and stuff over the years of you guys driving your new nice trucks out on that ice. How big of stones does it take to do that, buddy?
Not much.
Oh, bull butter.
Not much. Not that bad. I usually wait until there's at least a road cloud or other trucks are already out there.
A road cloud. What is that?
Like plow. They plow roads.
Oh, plow. A plow. Okay.
And like up at what's up, Tucker? Up in like Lake of the Woods, they got like probably 100 and something miles of roads plowed out there, and they actually have the igloo on Lake of the Woods. It's a bar out. I think it's out about. I don't know if they move it or it's like 5 or 8 miles out onto the lake. They have a bar. You can actually order drinks, sit at the bar, and fish below your bar stool.
James Dockery says it's about time they got someone on the show that knows how to fish. What you talking about, James Dockery?
My dog's trying to dig a hole in the couch right now. What are you doing?
How is the dog, by the way?
Amazing. He's a psycho. But
Yeah, kind of got one like that.
Come here. He likes to be held a lot if I'm working or something, he'll sit and start pouncing and pounding his feet on the ground, and then he'll put his paws up on me, and then he'll put his paws on my shoulder, and then he'll throw his head back until I pick him up and hold him, and then he just melts in my arms.
Did you train him for any duck hunting?
He pheasant hunts.
So is he a pointing lab?
No.
Okay. Well, my Gidget, my chocolate lab, she is out of Champion Pointing Labs. She's never seen a pheasant, never will see a pheasant, never seen a duck, never will see a duck. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
She's got the life of Riley. She sits around with her cage door opens, lays in there till the door opens.
Yep.
And we go out and she does her business and she sits beside me, and that's that.
I think River would be happy doing that too. It was kind of cool seeing him do it. I sent him off for 2 weeks for training, for gun training and intro to bird. And
right.
It was cool watching him hunt for the first time because he turns into something different when he's out there smelling birds.
Well, they do. And I enjoy it. I enjoy duck hunting very much. I'm a past that now, but it was one of the highlights of everything that I've done. I really enjoyed. Oh, Carver Fishing Podcast. Welcome.
Love those guys.
Yeah, there's some awesome guys. I enjoyed their show very much. And I hope that everything's going well for those guys.
We'll get back at it at some point.
Good deal. Looking forward to that. Benoit says 12 to 15 inches for vehicles. That sounds right to me. I wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, I mean, smaller SUVs and stuff, people drive out on 10 inches. I like over like 15, like he said. I feel pretty safe about that. And the thing is with lakes is there's always spots on certain lakes that they have like methane holes or shallow sand can be really, really dangerous to drive over on your vehicle. You think that it'd be better, but that sand heats up below that ice and creates soft spots on ice.
Because it's warm, right?
Yeah, so you gotta be kind of careful and follow other people's tracks. Don't go make your own tracks unless you're really familiar with the lake. Is kind of my theory. That's why I had a buddy drive his vehicle through a couple years ago. It was pretty scary. He got turned around, a little overcast with some snow. He's fished out there a lot, and he drove his Jeep the wrong way into the main river channel by the bridge and dropped his Jeep in about 30 feet of water.
Oh.
The wheels went through first, or the front end went through. He jumped out and then had to sit there and watch his vehicle sink, unfortunately.
That would be killer. You know, I'm guessing, not knowing too much about it, I'm running this stuff by you as it pops in my mind. But these new SUVs that's got heaters and air conditioners and 4 doors and all that, I'm guessing that's a pretty popular item up there.
Yeah, the UTVs?
Yep.
Yeah, they are pretty popular. A lot of people put tracks on them. They're really good until it's really slushy. Then snowmobile is pretty much the only way to go. But when you get into a lot of slush, those UTVs get stuck, and they're heavy.
Yeah.
And you need another UTV to pull you out, or a winch that you can drill a hole and put a winch in it and pull yourself out. But
drill a hole in the ice and put your winch cable through it and pull yourself out.
Yep.
Wow. You need to make a video of that.
I won't be doing that.
Okay.
We got stuck in a UTV about 4 years ago on Lake of the Woods. We had a big slush pocket, and there's ice heaves you got to worry about too. On bigger bodies of water, there's heaves where the ice is expanding and gets pushed up against each other, and it makes a heave.
Mm-hmm.
Usually in the middle of that heave is a really weak point, and people try to drive over it without boards. And someone actually just fell into one this week, actually, on one of the lakes there in Minnesota, and whole front of their truck was underwater.
There's a lot to that. If you're going to learn to ice fish and don't know anything about it, it's a great idea if you go with somebody like Luke that actually knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest doing it. There he goes. He's doing his thing.
Hey, buddy. Yeah.
Throwing his head back. He wants me to pick him up.
Hell, he's big as you are.
He's huge.
Yeah, man.
He's cute.
He is. He
just burped in my ear.
That always smells good.
He's happy now.
Yep. That's something else.
Well, I guess what are you doing? Come on. We're good. He just needs a little love.
Yeah, Gidget's standing here, and I scratch the top of her butt. She can't go stand that. She loves it. Go on, lay down.
I actually just got a call to possibly do an ice fishing trip this year. I haven't ice fished this year. My buddy Tucker in chat, he ice fishes a ton. I got a call today. Possibly might be going to Idaho to do some Cascade perch fishing, where I got that perch right there.
That's a giant.
That's a big one.
Yeah. That's a perch or something that is kind of on my bucket list. I haven't got one. There's only certain areas around here that's got perch. Not like you guys. You have them all over the place.
A lot of little perch in Minnesota.
Kennel.
A lot of dock perch. A lot of not a lot of quality perch. Same as like our bluegill. There's big bluegills, but go to any lake and fish off a dock, you'll probably catch freaking 20 bluegill under 8 inches.
But you do have in your area, you do have the mega bluegills too.
We got some pretty big ones. Yeah, the 10, 11, 12s.
Now you have red ears up there also.
We have some, but I'm not sure how plentiful. Mostly bluegill, pumpkin seed.
So if a guy wanted to get a trophy bluegill, that's a great area to go to.
Yeah, I would say I don't really target bluegills, but I have friends that know where to go to catch the 10 plus inchers.
So if you was coming up there to go after those, how many of the small ones do you have to wade through to get one of the mega bluegills?
Sometimes a lot. Only because there's those little ones are so aggressive compared to the big ones sometimes. I mean, that's the whole thing with crappies too. It's the same thing.
But you have giant crappie too.
Yeah, we do have huge crappies. If you use bigger baits though, shiners like 2, 3, even a 4-inch shiner or a real small sucker minnow. Those are the ones that you're gonna. A lot of those guys are catching those 15, 16, 17, 18-inch crappies on, and that kind of eliminates you catching the small ones. A little slower of a day, but you can really for surely get onto those bigger ones.
Whoops, I hit the wrong button again. Says the man that catches bass every time he goes out and Katie gets her camera. Wow.
I did a little bass fishing this summer. That was fun.
James Dockery has been sick. He must be feeling better. He's on my ass tonight.
And my buddy Pat that plays football loves bass fishing, so we get into that sometimes.
Right. And they took a beating the other day. It wasn't bad, but it was enough to take them out.
It woke him up. We'll be good this Monday against the Rams.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope so. I would since the Rams moved out of St. Louis, I would much rather see Minnesota win than the Rams.
Yeah, it was tough to watch. We'll just say that.
As tough as the Kansas City game?
Kansas City, I don't like Kansas City.
I don't either, but they played the Broncos and it was like 34-0.
They didn't play anyone either. They sat everyone.
Stop it.
Broncos needed that win, and Kansas City didn't care because they didn't play anyone. So
they played their second and third string, yeah, and that's the correct way to do that.
I picked the Broncos to win before that game even started.
Yeah, everybody did, I think, and they won't go too far, I don't think, but I'd like to see them win it all. Of course, everybody would, their own teams, but Kansas City's going to be hard to beat, Buffalo's going to be hard to beat, and Detroit's going to be hard to beat.
If the Vikings can, if we can get it together and play like we were playing regular season, a lot of those games, we have a chance at doing something. But it's the NFL, man. They all want to win, and like my buddy said, they're all professional athletes and they're all good at their sport. So anyone can win at any time. They
didn't get where they're at by being no good. I mean, they have to shine to be able to make it. So I think it's going to be a great season for playoffs, and we'll see how they work out. How many of them guys do you fish with that play for Minnesota?
Now only one. I know a few of the guys. I've talked to them and stuff, but we don't. Pat's pretty much the only one I fish with now. My other buddy left. He plays for Carolina. And my other buddy plays for New England.
Nice. So you got it going on with them guys. I've seen some of your stuff when you guys was out fishing, and it was really good. Speaking of that, are we going to be looking forward to some new Luke Hentges videos this year?
Yeah, I put 3 out in like last month on the Rods and Reloads channel.
Okay.
Just released a new one today. It's just me on that channel now. From today's video was Tara was in the last 3, but that was before everything. But I'll be putting out videos again this summer for catfishing.
Okay, good. You're going to do catfishing. Of course, you'll do some sturgeon fishing and You gonna do any ice fishing videos?
I don't know. If I go to Idaho, I might make one because it's pretty special out there.
Right.
But yeah, it's hard doing everything solo too. I mean, I can do it. I did it forever, but it was cool having someone to help and be a team. But I just got to get the drive to make videos again, and I've done it for so damn long, Lyle.
I know. I understand 100%. Believe me.
Yeah, I did. Started Northwoods 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And we grew pretty big, and we'd be really big. We'd be huge right now if we would have kept making videos, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
But
how is all the guys doing?
They're doing really good.
Good. I haven't heard anything out of any of them. I used to talk to Jacob once in a while, but the other guys, they're busy with families and stuff like that. And
Peter's got like 12 kids now. No, I'm just kidding. He's got like 4 kids. Jacob does. He's a big time guy with Norsk Lithium now.
Right. Yeah, good for him. Small water charters, welcome.
Blake has like 8 kids.
Wow. They understand what caused that, right?
Lots of things.
No, just one.
But no, yeah, they got families, and we were gonna make a Redemption Northwoods video this summer. We never got to it, unfortunately, but that'd been a fun one to do.
I think so too.
Maybe this summer. I think Jacob's kind of settled in his new job, and Peter's got the whole family thing figured out. I think we can be fun to make a video, one flathead video this summer, and bring back Northwoods for one episode.
That'd be great. You guys were so good together, all of you, and I never will forget the story you told me one time about. I think it was Peter flying a new drone into a side of a building or something.
Yeah, Blake flew the drone in the building.
Blake, it was Blake.
You definitely did that.
I cracked up when you was telling me about that. That's so funny. You guys have just got that thing.
Yeah, I bought one now too, so I got one for when we get back into it.
So how you liking your boat?
I love my boat.
How shallow water will it go through?
Ankle deep at 38 miles an hour.
Ankle deep at 38 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I've hit a couple sandbars now. And every time I get out when I hit the sandbar, it's below my ankle. So.
Well, that's a good way to judge it.
And the problem is it's usually the first part of the low water season when I'm just learning where the new sandbars are.
Uh-huh.
And the problem, it usually happens when it's windy, because when you get a little chop on the water, even on the river, you can't read the current like you can. Like normally I read current well. I'm on the river a lot.
Right.
But you can usually see the riffles and the runs and the sandbars, and but when it's a little bit choppy, it's just really hard to see where the sandbars are, and sometimes you'll cut too early and early in your low water year, and you'll come to a dead stop. You'll skid for a little bit, but if you hit some really hard sand, she'll throw you. I've had some pretty scary moments with that boat.
I'll bet. But you're liking it all right?
I love it until it's cold or even a little rain, because there's no cover in that boat. You just have the center console with a short windshield, and it's my next boat will be an outboard. I want an 1872 Sea Arc with a 150 or 200 outboard, but I want the front full windshield, like the Alaskan style front windshield with a full enclosure, so I can put that up when I want. But 95% of the time, my boat's perfect. I lake fish out of it. It's great. Handles waves well fishing, but driving in waves, obviously, the Mod V is not the best. They don't have a ton of angle on the hull, but the dead rise is pretty small. So, but yeah, overall though, yeah, I love my boat. I'm obsessed with my boat.
One of the things about enclosures is if you need heat, you can turn some on.
Yeah.
I like that.
And my buddy John's boat, he is the 350 Vortex Chevy in his big jet boat. He's got actually running vents when his engine's on. So for cruising in the fall or early winter on the river, or going for sturgeon. You can turn on the heat like a car when you're actually driving the boat, which is kind of nice.
Old Carbon Fishing podcast says didn't put out our video live because he didn't catch anything. That video would have put me on the cover of In Fisherman magazine.
Yeah, we struggled.
Yeah, there's days like that though, Luke. You know, there's more East Case and welcome, buddy. There's days like that when you can't keep them off the hook, and then there's days when you couldn't pay them to take a bite. You know.
Yeah, I mean, last fall me and Chewy went out. He had never really caught a walleye before, and you know, he's from New Mexico, and he moved here he started the bait shop and stuff, but he never really had time to fish. So we finally went out fishing, and we're jigging on the river, and I probably caught 6 to 8 walleye before he caught one. And I stopped fishing, and I was like, all right, you drop down, you know, lift it just a couple inches off the bottom, thud bottom just a little bit, hold it there, and you'll feel just a little tap. And that tap is in their mouth. And all of a sudden, you know, the rod starts bowing a little, and then pull it up. And then he figured it out. We probably caught 40 in 30 minutes, 40 walleye in about 30 minutes. And we didn't catch any big ones, but it was the experience was good. It was fun watching him reeling in a bunch of fish.
Brad says he loves your boat. It put him on his first flathead.
Yeah, that's a good story, too, if you want to hear it.
I do.
Brad lives about an hour away from where he catfishes. He's up north of the metro. And he had been out all summer, every weekend. I don't know how many, he can tell you how many weeks he fished flatheads. It was a lot. Wow. And he could not figure it out. Like, there's just one thing he was missing. He wasn't quite, is Luke still on the Flathead Council? And if so, what is the goal for this year? I'm still a member of the Flathead board for Minnesota, yeah. And I think we're past the carp for bait's going to pass this year. That was my goal, to get common carp to be legal for bait, even cut bait. We couldn't even use it for cut bait.
Wow.
And I think that's going to go through, hopefully. So that's for that. But he hadn't got one, and I brought him to a juicy spot, and I was kind of explaining to him, you know, why we're fishing the spot, why we're fishing the current the way we're fishing it, how we're fishing it. I said, give it 5. And he caught one in 5 minutes. Less than 5. And then I ended up catching he'd have to maybe tell me, but I think it was 38 or 42 pounds that night. I caught one myself.
Great. That was a fun night.
Yeah, 9 weekends in a row he got skunked.
9 in a row. Wow.
And he got one in the first 5 minutes in my boat.
That's crazy, man. I know, you know, for a long time, Luke, you was the king of live feeds. You'd hold a phone for 6 or 8 hours at a time. I don't know how your fingers would stand that, but you did a lot of it, and for several nights a week.
I used to stream a lot.
You did, and nobody before or after has done it like you do. Nobody.
I was dedicated. I didn't put stuff on a tripod. I didn't have fancy lights, and I don't hate the guys that do all that stuff. It's cool. It's definitely changed over the years, and I think they were doing a fine job. But
yeah,
it's became, you know, mine was very personable. I read every single comment on every single stream. I've read 4,000 comments in one night on a stream.
That's a lot, man.
And I'd lose my voice.
Yep.
Some nights I wouldn't catch fish, but we'd still have hundreds of people in there hanging out, and everyone was chatting and
having a good time.
It wasn't poisonous, and people weren't nasty. And nowadays, when you go into fishing live streams, and problem is, but you got guys like, it's not a problem, but you got guys like Haz and Chunky and those guys that fish the Potomac. They can catch 40, 50 blue cats in a night. That river's completely full of blue cats.
Absolutely.
And then they come to my stream and they're like, we're going to go watch them. They actually catch fish. And it's like, we're doing something completely different.
Yep.
I'm looking for one gigantic fish every time I go fishing.
That's right.
And I always tell people, we're just hanging out, chatting. If you have questions, ask it. Otherwise, it's chill time until it's party time, and when it's party time, it gets crazy.
Yep.
And that's
Bryce Hargrove says Luke taught me how to catch my first fish.
he played for the Falcons. Bryce is the man.
Sweet.
What's up, Bryce? Bryce is a good man.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd say so. Trying to get this thing up here. My brother will back Hentges as a name here. We have people show up to the shop just to take pictures of his blue cat, even to see him there. Wow.
Yeah, I haven't been showing up to the shop lately. I've been slacking.
It sounds like it. Welcome, Jerry Parker. Speaking of guys that can catch fish, there's one that can catch some fish.
Which one?
Jerry Parker.
Yeah, he sure can.
Big ones, too.
He pursues them pretty hard.
They tell me, now I don't know this for a fact, but it's like a mountain goat if you try to follow him. He goes through the hardest stuff there is to walk through, faster than anybody else can go through, and then he's standing up there hollering at you, come on, come on, come on.
That's it's one thing I envy about. I want to move south in the next couple of years, more south. I'd love to be able to actually put some time in for blue cats and not live 7 hours away from them.
I understand.
I think I want to be able to put a hurting on them. When we only get a couple trips a year, we've had real good luck for the minimal amount of trips. I mean, Jacob's got a 81 and like a 81 and a 70, and I got one over 100. And we haven't done it that much.
No, you guys traveled a lot to get to them, too.
Yeah, it's a long drive.
It is for sure.
But that Missouri River, man. I love that river. It is challenging at times.
A lot of people are just plain scared of it. But if you watch what you're doing, if you're experienced and pay attention, you're all right.
It is fast.
It is fast.
It's intimidating. When people always message me here and say, hey, we want to go try blue cats on the Missouri. And I was like, I just want you to realize that it is nothing like the Mississippi River here.
No.
Like, it's special. It is, I mean, if you want to fish in the current and not be directly behind your boat, you need 12 to 16 ounce weights just to hold off the side of the boat, 16 ounces. And and now that Jacob and those guys started to learn how to bump real well, that's changed their game a lot for catching.
Well, it's the way to catch them if they're on it. I have molds for catching fish on the rivers, and I 12, 16, 20, and 24 ounce molds to make weights with. And people, what are you using them for? A lot of times it's not enough, guy. It's not. But the Missouri River is special, and anything below St. Louis, the further you go, the more like the Missouri it gets, except deeper.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There's over 100-foot holes in a lot of places. We get around Memphis and places like that. The current's as fast as the Missouri River, or nearly as fast, mostly as fast, but there's a lot deeper holes. And that's the stuff I like to fish. And I like to fish flooded water. People say, you can't catch fish in flooded water. Bull. Flooded water, you pick out where they're feeding and go to how they get in and out. That's all you got to do.
When the Red River floods, people know the Red River is known for channel cats. You fished it many times.
I have. It's great. I love it.
When that river floods and gets in like the cornfields and gets into the golf courses, you can catch fish there.
You bet.
It just it gets trickier because they get spread out. And when our river floods for flatheads, it's tough because the river's surrounded by woods. It's woods on both sides. And when the water gets above those banks, it's tough because those fish are back in the woods feeding and eating invertebrates and eating whatever. And right when that water gets right to the edge of the bank, that's when I really start putting in pre-spawn hours and really pushing for the flatheads because it's pretty special that time of year.
I tell you, Luke, fishing the Mississippi River all the time I grew up, and in Missouri when they're flooded and stuff. One of my favorite things to do is find a flooded cornfield or bean field or something in the flood when it's draining out, and set up above where the water's coming out and put a wad of night crawlers about that big on.
Yeah.
Because they've been up there feeding, and that's what they're feeding on.
Let that roll through there.
Yeah, that's right. And you can have your way with them, man. Lots of fun. Lots of fun. Todd Oberlink here. You have to help me with that, Luke. Says you took his son out many times and created a fishing machine. Ginger Cat.
Ginger Cat. You know,
I remember him. I remember him on your feeds.
We got a celebrity in the chat too. So
there's Pat Jones,
Mr. 7 sacks on the season. Even though he's been hurt, he still killed it this year. Hopefully he'll be back this week.
Absolutely, hope so too. Yeah, that's awesome. Mike Irwin, welcome. I miss them feeds. I know I don't know how your work stuff is now compared to how it was then, but I remember a night you got caught out in the rainstorm and had to camp underneath a bridge.
That was one of the scariest nights I've ever had on the river.
Lightning and carrying on. Never shut the phone down. You never shut the phone down.
I was truly scared.
Everybody in the feed was worried about you.
That was really, really, really scary. That's probably this. I was by myself, and I ended up knowing I had to go. I don't know why. I should have just stayed under the bridge, and I didn't. When I did turn off my stream after I decided to make the trek, and that was the worst mistake I could have made. It was blowing 50 miles an hour, lightning, downpour. I couldn't see anything, and the only time I could see, even with my headlights, was when the lightning flashed, and that's the only reason I stayed in the river channel.
Yeah,
and that was pretty scary.
Yeah, it is, and that's something that safety is the number one thing when you're fishing altogether. But when you're night fishing, especially by yourself, it really is very important to wear your life jacket, have all your stuff. Make sure the equipment on your boat is ready to go and that you're not going to have any issues unless it's a freak thing. And if you get to a place like underneath that bridge, stay till it blows over.
Yeah, and the problem was I wanted to pull over on my way back because it got so bad I couldn't see. I couldn't see anything.
Right.
The problem is on that river, that banks are so corroded and the trees are right on the edge. And the last place you want to be is under a tree when the wind is like that because those trees fall.
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't pull over anywhere I would have been happy just pulling over on the beach, but there's no beach. It's just trees and they're terrifying.
Yep, you're right. Here's a great question. Whoop, wrong one. Who would catch more fish in a night, Pat Jones or Luke?
Oh, that's an easy question.
But I like this one too. Pat says Luke drives his boat like a Hellcat.
This is facts. Got places. I told him I can't afford his insurance, so I drive a little nicer when I'm with Pat. I don't want to be the guy to be the reason Pat gets hurt.
That's exactly right. I'm Mike. How you doing? Glad to see you in chat tonight with us, buddy. I know you and I've been in a boat together a time or two. We had a really, really good time.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I can't remember either one of us ever catching a fish together.
Yeah, we did. We caught a channel cat. Your wife caught it.
Oh yeah, Cindy caught one. That was up on the Fishing for Freedom in Quincy.
That's exactly right.
Yep. I remember she beat you to the rod.
Yeah, and I have provided you people. Some people don't know this, but me and Lyle met for the first time in what year was that at Cat's Incredible?
Well, it was a long time ago, Luke.
I bet 16 years ago.
Oh, at least. And
I actually provided Lyle frogs for bait.
Well, you're standing there visiting with the people that make anchors and shaking hands and stuff, and this little guy comes up to you and he says, I have something for you. I said, oh, yeah, what do you got? Frogs. Do I need them? Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
And he was right. I did need them.
You know, Dewey says, Luke, Pat asks, or Bryce asks who'd catch the fish, me or Pat, but Chewy says Luke because he never lets you fish when you're out with him. Time out, Chewy. I always get Pat the first flathead every time.
Yeah.
And if his fiance's with, she gets the first fish.
There you go. Danny Stone, welcome.
I do love seeing people catch fish, but I also love to catch fish too.
Well, sure. Yeah. I have been griped at, and people have told me that I'm full of crapola. But I would rather watch people catch fish now than I would catch them myself. Not that I don't like catching them, because I love catching them. And they don't have to be big for me anymore. That if I get a big one, that's okay. But they don't have to be big. But I enjoy watching other people fish. My fun part for me is going out and finding the fish. I have a good time finding them. And I don't have to catch them. Somebody else catch them, and I'm having just as good a time. But we'll see how this year works out. So I'm anxious for some small water stuff. I'll see how that does.
Yeah, I need to. I want to do more different fishing this year. I know Pat's got a place in Texas. I want to do some shark fishing out there. Pat loves the shark fish.
Very nice.
I'd love to get out there, and he's got a big drone that drops baits out there.
Oh, cool! I'd like to see that.
I'd do a video. I'd make a video doing that for sure. And I think that'd be fun.
Chad Nolte, welcome. Yeah, I've seen some of that with some other guys' videos when they do that. Really cool. Really cool. They haul them out there, and some of those drones, Luke, can carry some big baits, right?
Yeah, Pat, how big the baits is yours? He's got the big fancy one. I don't know how heavy a baits, but it holds big baits, really big baits. Bryce said we need to invite you on the next fishing trip with us.
Okay. I'm in. I never had a desire for a drone, and one of the reasons that I didn't was because of you guys running that one into a brick wall. But I don't play games on computers like most people do. Most everybody plays a game on a computer.
I flew mine into a sandhill this last summer.
You what?
I flew mine into a sandhill at about 40 miles an hour this summer.
How'd that work out?
It was full of sand, and it still has a little issues with the camera leveling, but it's fine now. I got most of it out with an air gun, and
okay,
it holds 10-pound baits.
Tucker, I do go up to Wisconsin. I haven't been in a few years, but hope to make it back up there real soon.
I brought Tucker there last summer, and it was horrible.
Really?
Fishing was not good. We were there right away, and we left early, and it sounded like the bite got better when we left. So
that can happen. You miss it. You can miss that bite on that lake by a few days either direction if you're not real careful.
Yeah, we've hit it perfect sometimes, and
when it's good, it's real good. Yeah. I think the last time we was up there, Cindy and I caught 87 channel cats in 4 days. And I had to put an ignition switch in my boat one day and do something else to it another day. Just freak stuff that went bad.
Fishing was shit, and we decided, we're like, well, let's go back and catch flatheads, because we still had the weekend. And we were at the camp, and Tucker's like, bro, your tire's shot on your truck. I was like, what? And we're at the campsite where we're always at in Mendota, and ended up finding that all of my tires were wore, like, to the wire, and I didn't even notice.
Oh my God, dude.
Like, the one was about to explode. It had a bubble in it.
Holy crap. That was a cheap trip, wasn't it?
So I went and got all new tires, and then we went and had the picnic with the guys, and we left, and we went back and caught some flatheads.
The last year I was up there, you and Tara was up there, and she caught a really big one. How big was that?
27.2.
Yeah, that was a great fish.
Huge fish.
There's 30-pounders in that lake. I've been just close to it. I've not got the 30 yet, but someday I hope to get that. I know there's been a couple of people that I'm familiar with that has tapped that mark. I'm not sure if Troy got it or Amy. I think Amy got it, actually.
Can you highlight that last comment from Bryce, just so Pat sees it really in exclamation?
Whoops. I've done something wrong.
This is, in fact, a true story. Bryce, that's Pat's best boy right there, his best friend. This is true. That is Pat's biggest fish, is a bluegill.
A bluegill. Hey, I would come up there for giant bluegill. You know me.
He got a 42-pounder this summer. Finally got a big one.
42-pound bluegill?
Flat.
Oh, flathead?
Mm-hmm.
I love flathead fishing. They're the king of cats. You can say what you want about blue cats, and I love to catch them. They're a ton of fun to catch, especially in heavy current in these rivers and stuff. Yep. Catching them on the lakes is okay, but if you want a real fight, you catch them out on the Mississippi or Missouri River because they know how to use that current to their advantage. Oh, yeah. It's a whole different thing. But a flathead is just the king of cats. I don't care what anybody says. Nothing fights like them, and nothing feels any better to reel that thing in a boat with a head that wide. You know,
just feeling the boat shake when a flathead hits your live bait. It's a spectacle.
It is.
It is. And people love circle hooking. I want to set the hook on a fish like that, because when you set the hook and it doesn't move, that's so fun.
Yeah, it is. When you pull that thing back and it stops right here and you can't go no more, you've got a dandy. I like Gamakatsu Big River game hooks for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite bumping hook. Everybody says, oh, no, you got to let them take that circle hook and load of bullshit. You stick them with that Big River hook, a 9 or a 10-aught, and the fight's on, because you're not going to tear the hook up. You're not going to break nothing. And if you don't have heavy enough line and heavy enough equipment, that's your problem. But that fish is stuck, and you're going to get him in.
Yeah, people say, you hear a lot of people say, you can use 20, 30, 40 pound for flatheads, but I don't have the time. I have to get the fish up now.
That's right. I got to see it.
You have to. There's timber down there. You give them you set that drag where they can actually pull on it. It's over.
You get them up, get them away from that stuff, and that's the reason why you use heavy equipment flathead fishing. Because if you don't, they'll take you into a brush pile or a treetop or a stump and wrap you around it. And I love braided line. I would rather have that than anything. If I had my choice, I'd never put a piece of mono on anything. But when they wrap you up, it doesn't really matter.
No, the only time I use mono pretty much when blue cats, when we're fishing a lot of rock.
Yeah, and I use long leaders to try to keep away from some of that stuff, and heavy mono for that.
I agree.
Tucker in the bomb says we get Brittany into a big flathead. We have to get Brittany into a big flathead.
That's his girlfriend. She's never caught one.
Well, she needs to go with you.
She does. Tucker's been in my boat a few times. We've had pretty good luck.
I'll bet. Bryce says, anyone ever go noodling? Tried it last summer. It was a blast. I would like to watch somebody someplace. It is illegal in Missouri, and I hope the crap that it stays illegal, because once them fish are pulled off them nests, they never go back to them. That whole fry is lost, and I don't believe in that, and I don't believe in taking them off the nest. But a lot of guys in Oklahoma do it, and I would like to see somebody do it. I'm not sticking my hand in no hole I can't see what's in there.
Yeah, I think I'd like to watch it sometime, but I just don't. I don't like pulling them out of their nest. I don't like that idea, but I'd still like to watch someone do it sometime.
Me too. I think it'd be cool. I seen one that a guy got a hold of a guy's hand, a beaver pile of some kind, doing that when I was a kid, and it beat him up and down one side and down the other. And I'm not sure he ever did it again, but when it was legal, they tried it for one season in Missouri, and it was so devastated, the amount of fish that was pulled out, that was actually reported, because there's tons and tons of them that wasn't. that they cancel it after one season. It's just too much. And I was glad that they did that.
Yeah, Wisconsin made it legal a couple of years ago.
And Oklahoma has a big time with it, and hey, good for them. If that's what they want to do, that's their deal. I just hope we never go back to it, and I don't think they will, because I've told this before, and the Missouri Department of Conservation is very good at making sure our regulations are the way they should. I do not agree with all of them. They don't agree with a lot of things I say, and I don't care, and they don't either. But they do very few things with less than a 5-year study on them. So if they make a decision for catfishing, it's probably the right one.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. So let them do what they're going to do. And they said that wasn't the right thing. And I'm okay with that. So, but the guys that are doing it, like I say, they have a blast doing it. I know people that do it every year, and they just have a big time. The trick to that, as with any other thing, Luke, is if you catch the big ones, put them back. There's no sense of harvesting every one of them. And that's one of the problems. It's like trot liners. Very few of them put them back. Now, there is some, and I know some commercial guys that put back their fish, the big breeders, because let's face it, the smaller ones are better eating. But there's so many of them that don't.
And the thing is with that is, they are the big breeders, and the reason for that is not only do they have 20 times more eggs, their eggs are stronger and bigger than the less mature fish, and they have a lot more probability of actually hatching and living.
Right.
And those big fish, 30, 40 pound flathead has a lot of eggs and a lot of good eggs.
Yep. And it's a proven fact that they can reproduce up to 30 years. Now, past that, we don't know. 30 years is a long time to be popping eggs out.
I wanted Pat to hear this. He already commented.
Oh, man. But, and bluegill and everything the same way. Here's the thing about bluegill and crappie that I learned from my buddy James Dockery. You don't have to throw back so many of them big ones because their lifespan is so short.
Sure.
If you don't harvest some of them, they're going to be lost to nature. Well, you might as well eat a few of them, because a catfish, 5 or 6 years for them is they're just getting into good breeding time.
Yeah, they're starting.
Yeah, they live 25, 30 years old and older, where a bluegill will live, 5 to 7, 8 years old, something like that. So you might as well harvest some of them good ones.
That's kind of off topic, but it's kind of cool. We're doing tests on bigmouth and smallmouth buffalo, which is a lot of people confuse them for carp when they catch them,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they can live up to 100 years old.
Wow. Now, I know the regular carp are not native to the United States. They was brought over. Are buffalo that way too?
Buffalo are native.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Buffalo are actually in the sucker family. They're not even a carp at all.
That's cool.
And carp are in Minnesota. Carp are labeled as naturalized invasive, which means they have they're in the water and they've naturalized to their environments. They're not ruining stuff anymore. It is the way it is now.
So why don't them people out in on the James River and the Potomac River say the same thing about the catfish that they actually put in those waters themselves?
Yeah, that's a problem. I don't know, but
I don't make sense to me. You put it in there and then all of a sudden it's an issue. Then
Virginia has some weird laws with that, classifying as invasive. It's strange.
Yeah, I don't agree with anything they do out there hardly, so I try to stay out of them things. But
that's a land of giants out there. Pat's from Virginia. I don't even know if he's fished the James for blue cats, but it's one of the best blue cat fishers in the entire world.
It is. It's a great place to fish.
It's tidal water. It's cool.
But that tidal water, I'd love to see that sometime. I've never have. The Potomac, it's got so many, and they're big fish.
Yeah.
Big fish. And for me, anything 20, 30 pounds and up is big fish. So I've caught bigger than that, but that's a big fish. If I catch one of them, I consider it a trophy. Anything over 20 pounds a trophy. Yeah. For a lot of people will never see a 20-pound fish.
Yeah.
So, And you know what I mean. You've caught big fish, but catching fish is what I like.
I agree fully.
Just catch fish.
I mean, every time you talk about 20-pound fish, I just makes me think of Selkirk. I don't know, every time.
Well, that's one of the places in my life, if nothing happens, I want to go someday. And you and I talked about this. You've been up there several times, and I've never have. And what was it you told me? 4,000 pounds of fish in either 3 or 4 days, something like that.
1,800 in one day.
1,800 pounds of channel cat in one day on rod and reel.
One rod each.
Yeah, you can only use one rod.
Yeah. It was. Right. We've done 1,200 in Drayton in one day. Me and Jacob in 9 hours.
That's a lot of fish, man.
That was a special day. We hit it perfect fall bite. We didn't even have to move the boat. We didn't move one time. Ice, everything was freezing. It was 20 degrees. Everything was freezing in the boat. We were tired and cold. We got to 96 fish, and we stopped. We could have kept going.
Wow. How much walleye fishing you been doing this year?
I did a lot this fall, quite a bit.
Now, was those harvest trips, or did you just catch them and release?
I harvested some, and I released anything over like 22 usually.
Okay. And that's how much will 22-inch fish weigh?
2.5, 3 pounds.
Okay.
Maybe 4 if it's really healthy.
And the only time I ever catch walleye is when I'm crappie fishing. Some days you catch as many walleye as you do crappie. But for the most part, you don't. But they're very good eating fish for people that like to eat fish. Walleye is a great fish. I'm not sure it's walleye. I'm not sure it's bluegill and crappie worthy, but a lot of people like them better.
Yeah, I think they're great. 96 times 16. So in Drayton, Dockery asked, has Luke fished the Red River this side of the U.S. border? Many times. I lived on the river. That day we averaged 16 pounds for 96 fish. That's 1,536 pounds in a day. That's on the U.S. side.
That's pretty good.
That explains how special it can be at times.
Absolutely. And that is a special day. Yeah, it really is. So hopefully that you'll see some more of them.
You guys are probably wondering, isn't this Panfish Nation? And the moral of the story is use panfish for bait.
That's it. 100%. 100%. One of the things about bluegill fishing that is so special is we use a lot of bluegill for bait. You use it for cut bait, use it for live bait. They're very hardy. You can keep them for a long period of time without losing too many of them, as a rule. Because I know Dockery's going to come in here, jaws are flapping. But, they are. If you got a good aeration system and don't put them in baskets, let somebody catch you some and throw them in a basket and put them in your live well, and they died because he wasn't smart enough to take them out of the basket and then blame me for it. But, they're great bait. The channel cat love them. Blue cats love them.
And we don't get to use them.
And you don't get to use them at all.
No.
Did you get the 2 rod per person claw pass?
It's on.
Oh, man, I'll bet you were so relieved for that.
You have no idea.
Yeah, I do. Remember you talking about it a lot.
It's passed on our river. Specifically, it's not even statewide.
Really?
Got on the Minnesota River, and then on part of the Mississippi from Pool 2 down, and then the Minnesota River from the Granite Falls Dam down. So everywhere I fish, I can use 2 rods now.
Wow.
And I can't say that it's caught me more fish, because it's usually the one rod in the one spot I know where the fish are going to come from or bite is typically where I catch fish anyways.
Right.
The bonus rod, and sometimes you get one on it, but I mean, a majority of the time, like when me and Pat flathead fished a lot this year.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I cast the spot, I'm like, it's going to bite that rod. I mean, you kind of know when it's in a good spot.
Yep.
You get the feeling, and that's like, it's just I don't know. It's good though. It was really good for the Minnesota and made walleye fishing a little better too. I can jig and then have a dead stick over the side of the boat,
Right.
which is nice.
Now, the other thing is, you like to use suckers for bait, and you like to use bullheads.
Yeah.
Like to eat fish. They're a great bait for flatheads.
They are very hardy.
Yes, and keep them for a long time. You can stick them with a hook, take the hook out of them. They'll still be alive the next day.
Yeah, I usually rehook them twice in a night. If they're hooked twice, I'll throw them out at the end of the night.
Yeah, and they'll probably live.
Yeah, just because they get the fungus if you got too many holes in them in your bait tank.
Right, and you don't want that in your bait tank.
You do not want that in your bait tank. The ick, we call it. And yeah, great bait. I'd love to be able to use bluegill legally. I think that'd be great.
Well, the bullheads are fun to catch too.
I quit catching them. I buy them from Chewy now.
Oh, does he catch them or is it commercially done?
It's commercially done. He sells them at the bait shop.
I see. I just like to be the guy that catches them and lets him have them.
Yeah, he's got guys that get them for him, and it's nice where I can, throw them some cash and just go fish instead of sitting at a pond where I might. Sometimes it's been tough the last couple of years for bullheads. I'll just say that.
I got to tell you, Luke, catching bait, whether you're using bullheads or bluegill or creek perch or anything like that, catching the bait is half the fun of catching your fish. If you got time.
Yeah, I disagree, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Well, I love to catch them, so makes it a lot different for me. But I got time, and you're working all the time.
I used to enjoy catching bullheads, and it's just I don't have it in me anymore.
Luke, do you know that in Missouri, when you turn retirement age, you don't have to buy a fishing license anymore?
That's crazy.
Isn't that nice?
Another 10 years, you can go without a license.
I'm already without a license. Gold eye. Tucker says gold eye up here. Gold eye is a great bait.
That's a Red River primetime bait.
Yep, I'll bet. Go, Kendall. I'll take you out in a minute. Go on.
My dog's sleeping on the couch.
She's laid down for a little while, but
James said you haven't needed a license for 100 years.
Not quite that long. Not quite that long. Yeah, and he wonders why he's number 3 or 4.
Right.
Luke, we're running over a little bit. I can't thank you enough for coming in here and joining me, and I know Mark appreciates it and everything. And please, people, keep marking your thoughts and prayers. He's going through a tough time right now, and it'll mean a lot to me and him both if you do, because he'll be back next week, I'm sure. But Luke, it was great having you on. It always is great having you on.
For having me.
Oh, we have a blast every time you're on here. We'll try not to wait so long to get you back, because I'm betting Mark's going to be a little pissy because he wasn't here while you was here. You know what I mean?
I'll have to do it again on Catfish.
We can do that. I'll talk to Chad and Josh, and we'll set it up and get you on there, and we'll talk about catching some catfish, because we ain't got to be froze up for long. We'll be back at it, and you'll have
a favor when you do it. Tell Chad that I'm hosting for him that day, and I didn't want him on. See what he says.
Okay. You don't have to threaten me. It's a good time. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you next Wednesday night on Panfish Nation.